This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor Jon Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
If you are like so many suffering from Spendophobia, we've got 7 steps that you can take to get over this and finally get to what you should be doing, spending your money with confidence in your retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jon Hicks, financial advisor, founder of J. Hagan Capital. I'm Heather Branch, here with Jon to review this list of things, the things that we want to share with you, dear listener, because after decades of working and saving and sacrificing, should you not have a retirement where you can confidently spend your money? Of course you should. Jon?
Of course. Why would we not? Why would we toil and suffer as we're working? Only to save this money to not use it.
Nobody is teaching us about how to go from a spender. After 30, 40 years of saving, you can't just flip a switch.
It's a different paradigm. It's a different paradigm of thought. We've trained ourselves or been trained by the powers that be or the industry or whatever that, hey, you have to save all this money because, the government may not be there to help you out in the long run. Mm-hmm. And so we've gotten so used to saving, and when it's time to spend it, we forget. Yep. We forget that that's what we were doing the entire time for this exact purpose. I know.
So a recent survey found that nearly half of American retirees, suffer from spendophobia. It's the fear of spending their savings despite having enough money. So we're going to start off with some positive perspective. This is retirement blogger Fritz Gilbert on Morningstar talking about how he gives himself permission to spend.
In retirement, you're finally at the stage where you're free to do these things with your life, and you don't want to be constrained by that old frugalistic mentality. So it's a big transition. I would say it probably took me about 5 years. And the hack that I use, I set up automatic paychecks, basically. It comes out of a money market fund. I set it up every year end. I go through the numbers again. I restock this cash bucket, and I just set up a paycheck based on my safe withdrawal rate. I know I'm good to spend it.
Fritz has got a healthy perspective on his money.
He's doing everything exactly right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he's not over analyzing it. He didn't say I'm in there every single, month with my abacus and my Excel spreadsheet, figuring out exactly what I need to do. What he was saying is, hey, every year towards the end of the year, I set up these things automatically. So it stays in front of my mind. And at the end of each year, I just make sure that I'm doing things correctly, that everything is going fine. And that I'm, basically on path. Those are the main things. So, it's interesting because I had seen a little bit different statistics on this, but kind of similar.
Okay.
I think the statistic I had seen was nearly 62%. 62% of Americans age 62, 65 into retirement, they were afraid to spend the money they'd save. So this one's roughly half. The one that I saw was almost 60%. Yep. And there's a reason for it, guys. All of a sudden, when we decide we're going to punch that time clock for the very last time, and we have been accustomed to getting a biweekly paycheck or a weekly paycheck or a monthly paycheck or our commission checks or for whatever we've been doing, we've been conditioned to do that. And for many of us, once we stop working, some of us, we may even have a gap of time before that Social Security check even comes in, into the bank account.
Right.
And when we do that, we just start getting panicky. Even if we don't appear to be panicky, there's something internal in us that just says, ooh, I don't know that I like this feeling. What happens if? What happens if? What happens if?
Yeah.
Those are the things that derail all of the fun. Those are the things that absolutely erode all the joy out of being able to spend our time the way we want to.
Right.
And that's what we want to avoid. In my office, we actively seek every single day to stop people from suffering from, they call this spendophobia. My whole thing is like, I don't want any of my clients being the richest person in the graveyard. What I want them to do is to have a life of wealth that they can spend smartly, right? Judiciously on things that enhance or improve their life.
Yeah.
Spending time with grandkids is not an expense. It's an investment. Those are the things that I want people to think about. And sometimes we just have to change the way that we talk about things. The tongue is the rudder of our life. And we want to make sure that the things that are coming out of our mouth are joyful, that we're enjoying those things. So those are those things I always think about, Heather, when I hear these polls and these exercises. I just want to make sure people realize there are absolute ways to attack this mentally, emotionally, so that you can set yourself up to have the best potential retirement. Yeah. But we got to start somewhere, right?
Well, we're going to start here with this conversation today. By the way, Jon and his team, they're here for you. Visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com or click on the links we've got posted in the show notes. Jon, Fritz mentioned, he said, this hack that I did for myself. So there was this article that I found I wanted to work through with you. 7 steps to help you transition from a saver to a spender. And sure. I want to go through these points with you, the ones that you believe listeners should know about.
Yeah. So the first 2 are probably the 2 biggest ones. The very first one is make sure you have a written financial plan. Now, for me, a written financial plan has to accomplish 5 things.
Okay.
We have to understand how much protection our portfolio has. Mm-hmm. Basically, how much money could we potentially lose no matter what happens, right? So how much is at risk and how much of it's safe? Mm-hmm. Because it's in money market or it's guaranteed or it's in a guaranteed annuity or a guaranteed pension fund, whatever it is, we want to make sure that we understand. Number 1, protection. Number 2, income. How is that income going to come out to us? Is it written down? Can we verify that? Is it going to be consistent, or is it a hope, right? Is it a hope and a prayer? Well, I think that I might be able to work 10 hours a week. Thinking we can and being able to are very different. Yeah. So our income plan, we need to basically be ironclad. Basically, Social Security income, pension guaranteed income, guaranteed annuity income, and then a portion of what we pull from savings. Now, if you know that you do Airbnbs and rent houses and things like that, that income plan needs to be written down because we need to know every single year, do we expect that to maintain for the upcoming year? If the answer is yes, we're in good shape. If the answer is no, we probably need to shift gears, okay? So income plan is number 2. And the third one, I'm just going to hit the big 3. The third one is tax design. The biggest thing about having money and protecting it is that we can also protect it from overreaching tax environments, right? Right now, we may be in one of the lowest tax structures that we're going to see over the next 20 or 30 years. And the reason for that is, guys, our national debt is out of control. We're getting close to $40 trillion of national debt. We still do not have a balanced budget, and we have all kinds of bickering and fighting on both sides of the aisle in Congress. I don't expect them to make a good decision, no matter what side anyone's on. I don't expect them to make a good decision because these are decisions that were made decades ago or 50 years ago that we're now paying the price for now. Mm-hmm. I don't expect them to know how to fix it. So how much we make in retirement, how much we can spend is going to be based on what the tax rate is. Those are the big 3 things we have to deal with, and we need it written so that we can look at it consistently. Now, remember, the idea is how do we spend in retirement and feel comfortable? Mm-hmm. And that's where the second one comes in. The biggest thing is remind ourselves, money is a tool. Money was not the goal. Being the richest person from your bank account statement was never the goal. It's, hey, how do I accumulate enough so that I can confidently go out and do the things I want to do, spend my time with people I want to spend with whenever I want to, and do the things I'd like to do, right? So we want to make sure that we don't have that concept of just saving to save. We want to know, what is the outcome? It's a tool. Money's a tool. What is the outcome we want to spend it on?
But we're taught this idea of save this amount of money, and that's what's going to let you live the life you want to live. It's actually the exact opposite, right? Live the life you want to live, letting the money support you in that space. That's how you and your folks at J. Hagan Capital at least look at it.
Always. We worked to create this money so that then our money can work to create that livelihood for us in retirement. That's exactly the whole point. This is why you've heard me say on the show many times, I want our clients to front load retirement. Yeah. I want our clients to start off understanding, let's see if we can knock off those bucket list goals that we all had at one point in time. Start your own bookstore in a coastal community. Take that Mediterranean 21-day Viking river cruise. Take the kids or the grandkids to Brazil, or take your pick, any gorgeous place. Take the family down on a Disney cruise, or take them to Disney, or rent a lake house for a whole summer. You don't have to necessarily buy the thing, although you can, but why don't you just rent it and let the family, as they have time, because everyone's busy, to come and see you on that rental property. Those are great things, and I want them to do it in the front end of the retirement. For 2 major reasons. Number 1, I want them to have that to look forward to. Okay. Number 2, I want them to give themselves permission to spend that money. Money's just a tool. We want to use it as a tool to create more happiness. And number 3, we want them to be able to have those experiences to talk about it for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Because if they decide they loved it, they're going to ask themselves, honey, why didn't we do this a lot earlier? And my whole thing is correct. Yeah. We have the money to do that. Let's absolutely do it. Yeah. Money is just, it's a tool. So we want to invest it in the things that can provide the most happiness. Because the one thing I can tell you, the people that say that money can't buy happiness, they don't have any. If you really look at it, money can absolutely buy happiness because you're investing it in what will give you joy, even if it's just a gift to give to someone else, right? So when you do these things, when you have a written plan and you're paying attention to it, when you're going ahead and establishing those large goals in the very front, at the onset of retirement, I want you to spend those opportunities in the very front end. Why? We're as young as we're going to be. We're probably as healthy as we're going to be. And that way we can still have those opportunities. My parents didn't get that chance because my dad had a stroke before they were able to do those things. And I learned from that. And I don't want that to happen to anyone else. So those two things cause different stresses on a portfolio. So I want to make sure that we accomplish those two main things, right? And the other thing, Heather, that I really want to make sure that everyone understands when it comes to retirement, in our firm, when anyone comes in, chances are this is their first retirement. They've not done this before. Our staff, we have helped thousands of people go through the exact same exercises that we all go through that one time, but we've done it thousands of times collectively. Thousands and thousands of times. No two plans are exactly the same. So different people have different regrets. Oh man, I wish I had done this. We need to do a regret exercise. We want to make sure those things that you said, man, I wish they were more for the kids. I wish I could have done this. I wish we had the lake house when the kids were much younger. Do learn from that. Can you learn from those things and help your kids or your grandkids to give them those opportunities? Those are things that I promise you, it's not a monetary way to derive happiness, but it is absolutely a real way to use your money wisely to create a happiness environment.
Yeah. It's a tool. It's an idea of a life you want to live. And it really does. It boils down to having a plan in place. That's what's going to give you the spending confidence that you deserve. At J. Hagan Capital, they're building plans every single day. They are here to help you with your plan as well. Let's get started. Visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com and get to work helping you get over this spendophobia that you don't want to be suffering from in your retirement years. Instead, what's the opposite of spendophobia? Spend-o-lot-of-a.
Spend a lot of
RetirementSolutionShow.com is where to go to start the conversation. We've also got links posted in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with Jon Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with Jon and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting RetirementSolutionRadio.com. Be sure to listen to Jon's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through J. Hagan Capital, LLC, NPN number 1882794.